Dear learners, welcome to this online course on electricity and safety measures. I am Dr. Rakhi Sharma from School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Learners, in series sessions of this module, we will deal with the various aspects of electrical accident prevention, handling and protection. So in our previous session, we have presented general information about direct and indirect causes of accidents, accident reporting procedures and investigation, and the cost of accidents. So in this session, after going through this session, you will be able to discuss various general measures that can be taken to prevent accidents in power utilities. So including good housekeeping and training of personnel for upgrading their skills and maintaining the correct attitude towards accidents. So this part will be covered in this session. So learners, the science of accident prevention is basically on a logical analysis of accident investigation reports given by professionally qualified engineers. It takes great skill and determination to steer an organization into a safer regime. At the very least, accident prevention requires the best possible information feedback from the workplace where the hazards exist. So this requires attention to be paid to various audit and management information controls. So electrical utility or organization should have a contingent plan and system for dealing with any emergency. It should clearly spell out the purpose and scope and the activities to be undertaken in case of emergencies. Let me tell you about this, the emergency preparedness and response. Under this, we will see the how can we mention the purpose, scope and activities which are required for any electrical utility. So first, the purpose should be mentioned. The establishing a system for dealing with emergency situations to minimize hazards to human health and safety. So this is the purpose for the emergency preparedness. Then scope, applicable to any fire, explosion or other disaster leading to emergency situation, which means any significant on routine situation which endangers the personal property and other interested parties or surrounding environment. So these may arise as a result of explosion, fire, etc. So for purpose of personal injuries, medical emergencies, separate procedures need to be followed. So that means any utility should mention about the purpose, scope and activities, what activities to be performed. First of all, under the activities, one has to identify, then make all concerned personnel aware. So under the activities, we can understand that the identify potential accident, conditioned emergency situations for the activities in different departments in consultation with the concerned supervisor or head of the team. That means the identification of the potential accident for the emergency situation. So it is essential. Then make all concerned personnel aware of significant risk attached to their area of work that may lead to emergency situation. Then after, discuss the situations with concerned team head and make emergency plan. Check the emergency preparedness and response to such situation and clearly identify responsibilities while preparing emergency plans. Then provide controls for and mitigate the safety hazards associated with the activity. Then under the activity, train the personnel in dealing with the emergency situations as per the emergency plan. So by carrying out periodic drills, that is the mock drills, fire drills, etc., at least once in a year should be performed, creating emergency situations and keeping records. So these plans should be with the organization, and organization should clearly spell out the purpose, scope and activities to be undertaken in case of emergency. One particularly useful management tool is to collect and analyze data, all near-miss incidents. There are many more of these than there will be of actual conditions, provided that one can get those involved to be forthcoming about these incidents. A great deal of useful information can be gathered about an organization's robustness and fitness to prevent accidents. It is likely to be much more revealing than trying to identify the weaknesses after the accidents themselves. So the prevention of accidents is actually much more important than the technical discipline of identifying risk. Adopting right technical solution to counter those hazards. It is also important from the point of view of costs involved. So learners, you may also like to know what can you do as an individual, or if somebody is working in some electrical installation, so what he can do as an individual. So you have studied about the many safety procedures in our previous module on the electrical safety measures. You may like to quickly review them before studying further. You will agree that the best method of prevention of accidents is training, retraining and more training. We now spell out some measures that can help in prevention of electrical accidents. One of the best ways to prevent accident is to think ahead. As you plan your job, take a moment to identify any potential hazards. Are you working near overhead lines? Could there be cable buried nearby? Are your tools in good conditions? Taking the necessary time to plan a job may help avoid later problems caused by an accident. So this approach, supplemented by observing safe practices, should go a long way in preventing accidents. So learners, we now describe some good housekeeping precautions that can help prevent accidents. So general measures for preventing accidents. The workmen are frequently injured due to stumbling, stepping on or bumping into tools, materials and other objects left lying around, or by object falling from above. Such incidents can be prevented by observing the following measures. What are these? Yes, the walks, staircase, fire escapes and all other passage or should be kept free of all obstructions. Tools and materials should not be placed where they may cause tripping or stumbling hazard, or where they may fall and strike anyone blow. The puddle of oil and water create slipping hazard and should be cleaned or cleaned up promptly. And nail-in boards such as those removed from the packing boxes, this may also constitute hazards. So these should be removed and the boards should be carefully staked or stored. And dirty and oily waste racks should be deposited in approved containers and disposed of as soon as practicable to avoid fire hazard. So you can see here some possible sources of injury and preventive measures. So learners, other general housekeeping measures that need to be taken are as follows. So what are these? Most of them are to be known to you, like the broken light bulbs, the glass, metal and scrap and other sharp objects should be disposed of properly in containers provided especially for them. It should not be here and there. It should be only for the should be placed only in the containers which are especially for them, meant for them. So discard fluorescent and other gas-filled tubes should be disposed of safely. The places where person work or pass in emergencies should be provided during time of use with adequate lighting. This may be the natural lighting, artificial or both kind of lighting. For what? For operations or special type of work performed. So general lighting should be of uniform level, widely distributed. Emergency lighting should be provided in big installation and offices. And adequate ventilation should be provided in workplaces, or this may be provided by a natural or artificial means. Now let us discuss about the personal protective equipment, which is also called PPE, which is very common name. So we will discuss about the PPE and devices. So the electrical utility should provide adequate and approved PPE for various jobs depending upon the hazard. Protective gears such as helmets, safety shoes, and this should be issued to linemen, jointers or supervisors, etc. And their uses should be monitored. It is the responsibility of the supervisor to ensure the uses of this personal protective equipment. So you have learned in our previous module on electrical safety that the personnel have to use suitable protective equipment like rubber gloves, the mats, safety glasses, etc. Wherever required as per the instructions, or wherever it provides greater safety. So in addition, the following rules should be observed for the use and care of personal protective equipment. What are these? These are: use the appropriate PPE for the work being performed and the environment in which you are working. So visually inspect and wherever required test PPE before use. Any defective, damaged PPE should be repaired or discarded and replaced. Wear a protective outer covering such as leather, which work as an insulator. In cases where the insulating capabilities of the PPE may be damaged during the work. So wear non-conductive head protection wherever there is a danger of injury from electric burns or shock caused by contact with exposed energized part. So other rules which should be observed for use and care of PPE, personal protective equipment, are wear protective eye face equipment whenever there is a danger from electric arc or flashes or from flying objects as a result of an electrical explosion. Do not carry store PPE with tools or other objects to avoid damage to them. Any employee working on height above 8 feet from the ground, except working on platform, should use a safety belt or RASI. Use only approved type of operating rods. Keep operating rods as dry as possible. These should not be dropped or left lying on ground. So let me show you some example of PPE. You can see here the helmets, jackets and other gloves, other equipment. Then some beautiful slogans are here, and some slogans have been taken from the Distribution Reforms Upgrade Management Project, which is a material of our course. So learners, do not locate operating rods below vent pipes of distribution transformer. One slogan is indicating this. You may find in your utility this kind of slogans. Now let us discuss proper handling of equipment. Many accidents can be prevented if the instructions for proper handling of tools and appliances, ladders, earthing devices, etc. are followed. We describe these in brief. First of all, the tools and appliances, we talk about this. The employees should use only those tools and equipment which are in good condition and only for the purpose for which they are designed. Remember this thing. Where proper and safe tools are not available for the work at hand, the employee should report the fact to their supervisors. It is essential for the safe work environment. So following instructions should be followed. Use proper tool for proper job. Ensure that every tool of appliance, that is slings, pulley, chain block, etc. is in good working condition. Discard all non-working tools, appliances, damaged pipes, spanners, hammers, etc. And remove tools which develop defects while in use from the service. It is essential to take them. And do not use them until they are brought back in good condition. So learners, we are discussing about the proper handling of equipment, discussing about the tools and appliances. So what should not be used? So do not use impact tools such as chisel, drills, hammers and wedges with mushroom heads until they have been reconditioned. Hammers, axes, shovel and similar tool, if handles are loose, cracked or splintered, it should not be used. Do not use defective wrenches such as open and adjustable wrenches with spread jaws or pipe wrenches with dull teeth, as they are likely to slip. Pipe or other extension on wrench handle to increase the leverage unless the wrench is specifically designed for such an extension. So now let us discuss about the how we can handle properly the ladder. So the following safety measures need to be taken while using ladders. Inspect the ladder before use. Secure the ladder at top or station a person at its foot. Ensure that ladder are used with a slope of about 75 degree, or we can say the position ladder 30 centimeter or 1 foot out of base for every 1.2 meter or 4 feet of vertical height. That means the out of base it should be the 1/4 of its vertical height. It is essential. Ensure that ladder rises 3 feet above landing point. Face the ladder when climbing or descending and use your both hands in that time. So these are very essential precautions one should take while handling these ladder while working. Avoid makeshift arrangements in lieu of ladder. Remember this thing. Ensure that there are rubber shoes at both arms and at each terminal, that is at each end of the ladder for safe working. So before fixing the ladder, confirm that no electricity or electrically charged conductor is passing nearby. Ensure that only one person uses a ladder at a time and another person keeps a watch on the ladder position. Now let us discuss about some precautions for the earthing devices. Make sure that only approved earthing devices are used in all work. Care is taken to maintain earthing by ensuring a condition of clamps where the earthing is connected. So neon line tester is used to check the bus bar area, cable, overhead conductors, and it is ensured that the tester is in good condition when we are going to work on the electric system. Now we will discuss that adequate steps should be taken for public safety while working on the electrical installation. That when we talk protective barrier, it can be the temporary also. So when the work is conducted along public street or highways, pedestrian and vehicular traffic should be warned by signs and flags by day and red lights or flashes by night. Wherever necessary, signalman should be provided. So there should be this protective barrier when the work is going on. So adequate steps should be taken for the public safety. So what are the instructions for safeguarding the public? Every effort should be made to protect the public at all times where the company's work is in progress by use of signs, barricade and personal warning. So when working on customer premises or public property, every effort should be made to avoid hazards to persons or unnecessary property damage. Barriers should be placed around all open manholes, exposed open ditches and excavations. Authorized visitors should not be left to find their own ways, and public should be encouraged to report dangerous situations which may come to their notice. The visitor should be provided proper personal protective equipment whenever required. So that is required for handling the various tools and various equipment in electrical installations. Now highlight best practices for personal safety while working in electrical installation. So as a supervisor or manager, it is the responsibility to make sure that these are strictly observed. So what are do's and don'ts? So best practices for personal safety. You can see here a beautiful slogan. It is indicating that no job is so urgent or no service is so important that it prevents you to take time to do it safely. What are do's, best practices? Use proper tools for each job. So you should know that use rubber gloves, gauntlets only when line voltage is 5 kilovolt or lower for the low voltages. Carrying out earthing, then one should use the rubber gloves. Opening this AB switches, using a portable telephone and working on street light fittings. In that case, use this rubber gloves. So minimum distance need to be maintained while working on some voltages. So while working on low tension, that minimum distance need to be maintained is of 3 feet or 0.9 meter. When 11 kV, that minimum distance is 2.5 meter, 8 feet 6 inches. 33 kV, that 2.7 meter or 9 feet. Then 66 kV, 10 feet. 132 kV, 11 feet. 220 kV, 14 feet or 4 meter. So you can see when the voltage is increasing, then the minimum distance for the safe working is also increasing. So while earthing, the 3.5 to 4.5 meter minimum distance is required. Then this is 12 to 15 feet. So this distance is required while working on some danger voltage. To use safety belts while working on poles, platforms above 3 meter height, and learn the proper way of using and removing the belts, and proper way to get up or get down the pole, and also the way to change direction. So you should have that training of all these things. So this comes under the best practices. Always use insulated pliers and screwdrivers. This is required only when you are working on LT, low tension. Treat all the conductors or apparatus always as live. Remember this thing, you should treat all electrical conductors and apparatus always as live, and consequently dangerous to the human life unless it is positively known to be dead, and properly earthed, and take precautions accordingly. Keep safe distance from rotating equipment. Do not attempt to handle them while working. While working on live conductors, do not roll up sleeves, as dry clothes give some protection against shocks. Remember that when more than one low tension circuit is led from a transformer, ensure that street light circuits are also separate. It is better to take a line clear on both current transformer circuits. We have discussed this in case of the substation equipment also, and distribution line equipment, how the transformer is installed, and the both sides the circuit breakers are also there. Then the incoming line and the outgoing lines from the transformer. So here we are discussing about the do's and don'ts and best practices to avoid any accidents. So when load on one transformer are transferred on another, note it in the logbook and intimate the duty staff. Ensure all 3 blades of AB switches are open before working. There should not be any energized kind of thing. Remember that loose connections can cause fires. Maintain discipline and the right attitude at most important. Avoid haste while working. Avoid joking while working. Mind your personal safety and do not depend on others. Now let me discuss about the best practices for personal safety. What are don'ts? Do not wear loose dresses and the dresses having the metal buttons. Remember one thing, this. Do not use shoes when metal nails etc. Then shoes should preferably have rubber sole. Do not use item made of metal like the chains, wristwatch, key bunches, rings, bracelets, etc. While on work, as these might come in close proximity to the live parts and cause serious if not fatal injury. Do not throw tools at each other while at work. Do not work if you feel exhausted. Do not use rubber gloves or gauntlets. Should not be used for works of voltage class of 33 kV and above. That means these are only used for the low voltages, not for the high voltages. They are special kind of equipment, or the gloves are used when you work for the high voltages. There is one very interesting slogan is here. You can see that. So learner, now let me summarize this session. So in this module of this course, we are dealing with the various aspects of the accident prevention, handling and protection. In our previous sessions, we have presented general information about the direct, indirect causes of accidents, accident reporting, procedures and investigation, cost of accidents. And in this session, we have discussed various general measures that can be taken to prevent accidents including good housekeeping and training of personnel for upgrading their skills and maintaining the correct attitude towards accidents. So dear friends, in our next session, we will focus on the cases of electrical shock and fire, the safety precautions and simple methods for handling such cases will be presented in the next session. Thank you and happy learning.